Steve's question. Steve, what these, as I understand it, what Moderna has done is they have isolated a gene from the coronavirus. They have used that gene to make a protein. And they have used that protein, injected that protein, not the virus, but the protein itself, to produce antibodies. In phase 1 of their study, they injected the protein into, I believe it was 72 volunteers, simply to show that that protein could induce antibodies. It is not the virus. But the next step, phase 2, is to show that those antibodies can, in fact, glom onto the virus and prevent the virus from infecting.
Okay.
So what they're going to do, well, I would imagine, is, give that protein to 1,000 volunteers, see how many of them develop the antibody, take the antibody out of them and watch it attack the virus, make sure it can attack the virus. And then ultimately, I imagine in phase 3, give their product to enough people that they can make some predictions. We've given this to 10,000 people, and by our predictions, 500 of them ought to get sick, and see how many of them do. That's how you do it. That hasn't been done yet, and probably won't be done for a year or more.
Now, there's such a thing as and I'm groping at the term, a forced trial where you actually take people and deliberately infect them with the virus and see if the vaccine prevents them from getting this disease. As far as you know, there are no plans of doing that. Is it that would speed up the whole process by quite a bit?
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
But who's going to volunteer for that until we have some way of knocking the virus out? You can do that if we had a medicine against the virus, but you're not going to. I can't imagine volunteering to get the virus. Maybe if I were 20 years old and knew that it wouldn't do much to me, I'd be a volunteer. That could happen, Steve.
Yeah. That has been, there's been a number of papers about that so-called challenge trial.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a lot of people who have volunteered already.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But the problem with it is that we don't understand the genetic variation in humans. Some people get it badly, some people do not.
Yeah.
And so just because you had, if you had 100 people in doing a challenge trial, you wouldn't be sure that those people had the genes that were appropriate, that were sensitive to this particular virus. So they might not, they may survive the challenge okay, but that wouldn't actually prove that it worked in the natural environment.
Yeah.
And being infected in the natural environment is different as well. And so it might show you that a particular vaccine doesn't work, but it probably doesn't show you that a particular vaccine really does work in the large population.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you. That's right on. Folks, I'm gonna have to leave. So are there any burning questions left?
No, well, thank you again.
I hope I've helped a little bit. And I thank you for the opportunity to talk. And at any time in future lectures, you get a question that you think just has to be answered, I'll be happy to help if the host allows me to answer.
I was going to recommend a movie to everybody that I just watched. Jessica, you can leave if you need to, but
Thanks again, Jessica.
Yeah, you're
Thank you,
very
Jessica.
Thank you.
thank you,
My,
Jessica.
my pleasure.
The movie was made in 2011. It's called Contagion. Has anyone seen it or heard about it? Anyhow, it's an actual drama with Gwyneth Paltrow, and it's a total. It's exactly what's going on in our world right now. A virus has a virus comes from a bat, and it spreads from one contact from one person to another. And the movie is really pretty graphic and very interesting as to how the virus spreads. This one goes to visit that one and then coughs, and then that one goes to visit several other people. So I recommend that movie, Contagion.
There's also a book out that just came out called The End of October by I think a guy named Wright, and it just got published, and it's about a variant on the influenza virus causing a pandemic. I read it and was depressed for 2 days afterwards, so I don't recommend it.
Okay, well, everyone, next week, Bob Lukuski is going to be lecturing, and I am going to again set up the Zoom meeting, and I'm going to email Bob so it will be a brand new link to click on and a brand new password. So I'm not doing it like Bob Corson did. So look for Bob Lukuski's email to tell you how to log on next week.
So it'll be different than this week.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, I've chosen to do it that way.
And let me take a little time to tell you what I'm going to be talking about and not talking about. I'm not going to be talking about herd immunity. What I was planning on talking about is testing. And there's two kinds of tests. One is for the virus and one is for the antibodies. And the other thing I was planning on doing is when you listen to the news and reports, you hear all kinds of stories like the Roche test is not very good and people are testing positive and they're not positive. And that really has a big effect on how good the test is. And so there's a lot of words out there like a particular test has a particular sensitivity or specificity. And most of us really don't know what those words mean. And so I'm going to explain what those words mean. And then I'm going to talk about the test for the virus and the test for the antibody.
Right.
Okay.
Just one comment. If anybody is interested in getting tested, it's very easy to do. You sign up online and you can actually walk to it. It's being done in the, what was that? It's that gymnasium right back where the Jewish Center was. It's right outside of Rossmore. So you can sign up online, make an appointment, you show up, takes 30 seconds and you're out the door.
And how long does it take to get the result?
They say 24 to 72 hours. It's being sponsored by the Zuckerberg and something or other. They're trying to get in Contra Costa County as many people tested as possible, just to add to the numbers. And there's you have to do it online. There's a website, and you work through the website. There's a phone number. It was given actually it was in the Rossmore newspaper. There's a phone number that was provided. Don't call the phone number. You'll never get through. But eventually you can check and you'll find the website. It's a foundation. I think it's called ITA or something like that, I could pass that along in an email. I can send it to Bob, and he can try if anybody's interested. But
Yeah,
if you are interested in becoming a statistic, I guess that was, if Bob's going to talk about statistics and testing, if you want to add your name to that statistic group, it was pretty straightforward. We just did it, signed up on Friday and did the test yesterday, and it worked just fine.
Yeah, if you go to the Contra Costa County Health Department website, there's a link on there to that,
Okay.
to the testing thing.
It's a walk-in. The only walk-in place is here that I could see, at least as it was posted last week, was in Walnut Creek in Contra Costa County, and it happens to be right on Tice. What is it? Tice Valley. It's right there. It's right at the gate to Rossmore. All right, bye.
So are we done, Bob?
I think we're done.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop the recording, and you can, unless anyone has another question or comment, that we can stop the meeting.